Record.
I want to look back when I'm 150 and look back at this and go, look how good I looked. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here with us. We're just going to take a few minutes and let the numbers come in, but we will get started in a few minutes.
Good, we're at 90%.
We have, yeah, we've got a good group of people starting up. It's finally a cold and blustery January. Really strange, no snow. Somebody should tell Trump that there is no global warming. Oops. I guess, are we still going to have Trump jokes?
He doesn't
Jeremy?
care.
He doesn't count anymore?
He doesn't care.
He doesn't care. Well, he granted immunity to about 180 people this morning, I heard. Did he grant himself immunity?
No, he did not.
Can he? I wonder.
No, there was a lot of legal debate over whether it was, but it's sort of an admission of guilt, and then it would go to court as to whether or not it's
legitimate.
Right. So
right.
Problems than solutions.
You know, I grew up in a time, Jeremy. Your dad and I grew up in the 50s, and what was so nice in the 50s and the 60s is with all the cowboy movies, you knew the guy with the black hat was the bad guy and the guy with a white hat was the good guy. And now everybody's wearing a white hat and saying, I'm a good guy, and you can't tell the good guys from the bad guys.
You can't tell.
You can't tell. Well, it is 10:06. I think we should start rolling.
Yeah, click go live on Facebook, so everyone got a little preview, and we're going to go live now on Facebook. Welcome to everybody joining us live on Facebook. We have over 100 Realtron agents on this Zoom webinar with Alex Pilarski. This is our monthly power meeting with Alex. And the title for this topic is Simple Truths to Unlimited Success in Sales. I know that.
How did you know that, Jeremy? Wow, you must be psychic.
Yeah. So, here it is. And
yes,
Alex, if there are any formalities you want to start with, good morning to everyone who wished good morning on the chat.
Good morning. We're
going to take some questions as we go along, so feel free to pop them into the chat. At the end, maybe we'll have some time to raise hands and bring some people in if we've got some time, and we'll try and get you out of here in an hour and a half with enough time to
max. Yeah. But again, if you have questions, Jeremy and I are here. We're going to answer all of your questions, and our objective today is to help you get started with 2021. So without further ado, welcome to 2021. You know, a lot has happened in 1 year, things that we never considered or results that we could not predict. Who could have predicted that we would have a run on toilet paper, or that, you know, cottage properties would increase by 30%? I mean, these things were inconceivable. And 10 months ago, here's what we were concerned about: vaccine, recession, depression. How long will it last? How will it impact me? What will the government do? What can I do? What should I do? And all these worries created and still continue for many of us to create much anxiety for many of us. And as it turned out, it was a huge year for sales for many businesses, including real estate. I mean, we had agents who had the best years of their careers ever. And the truth of it is, all of our worrying really didn't impact much. And so nothing diminishes anxiety faster than action. So if you're worried about what's going to happen, if you're worried about anything at all, you've got to take some kind of action. And my objective today is to help you stop worrying, relieve your anxiety, and get back to making a lot of money and beating the competition. After all, that's what we're here for today, right? Let's take a look at some undeniable facts. Let's take a look at industry stats. Out of 100 people who start work at age 25, by age 65, 1 will be rich, 4 will be financially independent, 15 will have some money set aside, and 80 will still be working, broke, and need their pensions. Those are very, very sad facts about our society. Most baby boomers today are planning on working into their 70s. So raise your hand. Why do you think most baby boomers are planning to work into their 70s? Anybody? Jeremy, where's my hand? I know where my hand is. Well, okay. And no, any guesses? Most baby boomers today are planning on working into their 70s because they cannot afford to retire. That is a very, very sad fact. People just don't have enough money because they waited and they didn't plan. So those are undeniable facts. Here's another undeniable fact. Selling is the hardest profession in the world. There's no one that's better. We're also in the most affluent time in history. The only profession in which a salesperson can start with limited skills to achieve one of the highest incomes in our economy. As you want. There are more ways to achieve wealth and prosperity today, and in more different ways than it has ever existed in all of history. It's never been more possible for anyone to achieve financial independence easier than right now. You know, guys, we're truly lucky not only to be in Canada, not only are we lucky to be in Canada, but we're lucky to be born in this time period. You know, I was born 1952. How many generations have there been? I've been one of the very lucky ones that I've never experienced a war. I've never experienced hardships, and I know many of you have because you've come to Canada from other parts of the world that have had so much turmoil. But we're lucky to be here now, and we're lucky to be in this period in history where there are no income limits, and you can basically be and do and make as much as you want. So those are undeniable truths. Let's take a look at some undeniable laws. Number one is the law of cause and effect. Success is not an accident. Failure is not an accident either. You know, does it ever come as a surprise to you that somebody who you know is heavy into drugs, cocaine, you know, they're in a good period of their life, and then everything comes crashing down, and you look at some of these, whether they're entrepreneurs or whether they're movie stars, and you know that it's the drugs and drink that caused many of them to have the downfalls that they did. And it's no surprise because success is not an accident and failure is not an accident. And you succeed when you do what other successful people do over and over again. When you change what you do, your results also change. You know, there's a story about Brian Tracy, a graduate of his came to him after 10 years and said, you know, increased for the last 8 years, but for the last 2, 3 years, my income hasn't increased. Your system doesn't work anymore. And so Brian Tracy said, well, are you still reading books? Are you still attending seminars? Are you still studying on how to improve your job? And the guy went, no. And the guy went away and said, oh my gosh, I stopped doing the things that made me successful. And you know, one of the things that's made Remax Realtron very successful is Richard has always attended the international conventions. And he came back from each convention with all kinds of ideas on how to improve himself and how to improve the company. And we continually looked for ways on how to improve, whether it's reading books or going to seminars or doing stuff. And that's why Realtron is who we are today. we were always busy being born and not busy dying. And when I shared this with other agents saying, hey, go to the convention, learn, they would say, oh, well, I already saw the Grand Canyon. Why should I go again? I said, but didn't you attend the seminars? I go, no, I know everything. And a couple of years later, their incomes plateau and they stopped improving. If you've stopped improving, chances are you've stopped doing what you used to do. And that's the law of cause and effect. If you change what you do, you will have different results. Unfortunately, there is no Santa Claus. There is no free lunch. Everything has a price. And whether you want a better family time, whether you want a new car, whether you want to have a better relationship, everything will take either money or time. You've got to pay the price. And the real question you have to ask yourself is, if you don't like lumps in your bed, why did you make it that way? And if you want lumps in your bed, then change how you make it. If you're not, those are the achieve. You can learn any sales skills you need to learn to achieve any sales goal that you can set for yourself. And if you do what most successful achieve the same rewards that they do. So the question is, who are you copying? It's a good question, right? Let me ask you, are you copying Barry Cohen? But hold on a second. Are you copying Barry Cohen 1992, who we have here? Or are you copying Barry Cohen 2020? There's a difference. Two different guys, two different business models, two different ways of achieving success. Who are you copying? Are you copying Wayne Kahn 1992? Or are you copying Wayne Kahn 220? See, that's the challenge. You look at Barry Cohen today, and you're copying what he's doing today. You look at Wayne Kahn, you look at any top agents and go, oh, I'm going to do exactly what they do. And if you drive down Yonge Street, you have a bunch of agents who don't sell any houses, have got all these billboards because they think that's what makes a top agent, is a billboard. And the truth of it is, a billboard without a reputation isn't worth anything, doesn't get you any value, and it's a waste of money. So most people copy top agents at the pinnacle of their career, not what it took to get there. I have to tell you that Barry Cohen was a door knocking specialist starting in 1985. Wayne Kahn was a cold calling specialist, getting 100 no's a day. And until 2014, Barry still door knocked one day a week. Did you guys know that? Of course not, because you look at Barry Cohen today and not what made Barry today, or not what made Wayne today, or not what made Robert Kroll today, or the 50, 100 top agents we have. So they didn't, Wayne Kahn, for example, didn't build a team to get leads. Sorry, Barry didn't build a team to get leads. He built a team to handle his leads. Wayne could have started a team, but he decided to farm out his leads because he wanted a simpler lifestyle. He was happy with what he was doing and he wanted a simple lifestyle. So after 35 plus years, the top agents, they have a reputation that can be promoted and be successful. When they joined, they couldn't afford a billboard. So there's two ways of making money in real estate. One is to spend time and one is to spend money. The average agent has lots of time, but very little money. So again, what we did, me included, is I was cold calling, Wayne was cold calling, Richard was cold calling, Barry was door knocking. It worked because you have to spend either time or money to get you business. Once you become known and once you have a reputation and once people recognize your name and once you have money, then you can spend money to make money. And that's why flyers start to work. And that's why farming starts to work. And that's why billboards start to work. But you can't start where a great agent is. You have to start where what made them great agents. And the challenge we have is most people don't have self-discipline and persistence. You know, Benjamin Disraeli was a brilliant British politician from the Conservative Party who was prime minister twice of the United Kingdom. And he has a lot of famous quotes. One of is action may not always bring happiness, but there's no happiness without action. And the other one that we're quoting today is, by the way, I really like that one. Action may not always bring happiness, but there's no happiness without action. Again, bringing it down to the responsibility of the individual. Without the individual providing action, there is no happiness. So, sorry, side issue. So the quote we have today is, beware of endeavoring to become a great man in a hurry. One such attempt in 10,000 may succeed. These are fearful odds. So the question is, how does it relate to real estate? Simple. Agents are looking for fast, easy ways to become successful. I want to become a top agent. What's the fastest way? Okay, I'm going to pay for leads. I'm going to build a team and let them work for me. I'm going to, all of these fast approaches do not work. Beware of endeavoring to become a great man in a hurry. One such attempt in 10,000 may succeed. These are fearful odds. Internet leads are okay, but 1 out of 100 may be successful. The odds of internet leads succeeding are fearfully low. So let's take a look at some more laws of life. Excuse me. The law of time. Time is perishable, it cannot be saved. Time is irretrievable. Once it is gone or wasted, you can never get it back. Time is indispensable. All achievements, all results, all success require time. You cannot save time, you can only spend it differently. You can only relocate your time usage from areas of low value to high value. We only have so much time. So if you spend your time doing things of low value, then you can't complain that you're not getting high value in your life. And another quote that I really like is by Richard Paul Evans. Procrastination is the thief of dreams. I'll work tomorrow. I'll prospect later tonight. I'll do it later. This procrastination steals your dreams of a better life for you and your family. Because as we know, you come into the office and go, I don't feel like calling now. I'll prospect later. And later doesn't happen. And those 100 calls are now gone forever. You can never recapture that additional call. Well, I can make 200 calls tomorrow. Yes. But the 100 calls that you could have made today would have brought you so much closer. So look at yourself. Is procrastination stealing the dreams of a better life for you and your family? Here's a good question. What's important to you? Now, before, is it family, health, all of this stuff? But I have to ask you, before you answer that question, how much time are you spending on family? How much time are you spending on health? You can tell the value, it doesn't matter what you say, but you can tell the value that something has to you by the amount of your time that you invest in it. You've got to consciously and deliberately select the most valuable, important thing that you could be doing at any time, and then discipline to work solely on that task. If you say your family is important to you, but you don't spend time with your family, then maybe you're not being honest with yourself. If you say your work is important to you, but you're not spending any time at work, then maybe you're fooling yourself. So figure out what it is that's truly important for you, not by what the easy answer is, but how much time are you spending on it? This is a great law, the law of three. Three primary activities contribute to 90% of your value to you, Inc. Jeremy, unhook us. Let's see if we can. I want somebody to tell me, what do they think you, Inc. is?
Sure, go ahead and raise your hand, and we can bring you on. Bing Rahim's hand's been up for a while. Let me just allow him to talk.
Sure, absolutely.
And you can unmute yourself, Bing, if you're there. If anyone else has an idea, raise your hand. Go ahead and raise your hand.
Bing, good morning. What is you, Inc.?
Bing, you there? You just have to unmute yourself. Anyone else have an idea of what you, Inc. is? You can drop it into the chat or raise your hand. We got Michelle.
Michelle. Good morning, Michelle.
Michelle,
everybody's muted. Unmute yourself, Michelle. There you go.
I'm sorry, that was an accident. I wasn't raising my hand.
We have an accidental hand raise.
Sorry about that, but good morning.
Good morning. Nice for you to join us. Anybody
I'm
has
muting again.
Okay. Anybody has an idea what you, Inc. is? Come on.
I think it means you ain't going to get anyone to volunteer.
All right. Fair enough.
Helen Tran. Helen Tran is here. Hi, Helen.
Hi, Helen.
Helen, you there?
All right. Thank you for trying. You, Inc. is the fact that you are running your own incorporation. You are an independent real estate person. These days, you can be incorporated and have your own company and be treated under the favorable tax laws of being incorporated. You, Inc. is you. It's your company. So the three primary activities contribute to 90% of your value to yourself, because we as real estate agents are it's a unique situation. We're the president of our own companies, and we're our number one employee, or maybe our only employee. And so the challenge becomes when there's a fight between the president of the company, who says, hey, I want you to work hard and make more money, and the employee saying, I don't feel like working, I'll work later. And that's a tough position. That's what makes sales so difficult. But here's the key. There are three primary activities that contribute 90% of more of your value to yourself and to your company. So what are those things? Anybody? Can you type them in? Raise your hand. Anything at all? Anybody out there? We got lots of people. Tell me, what are the three things that contribute to 90% of your success in real estate?
Morning Wang says prospecting.
Yes, that's number one. What's number two? Okay, if you are prospecting, showing, and doing presentations, that's 90% of your value to your company. If you're not doing those three things, you're only contributing 10% of the income to your company.
So we've got Maria and Sam asking to talk.
Sure, go ahead.
And list, sell, show, negotiate says Ron. Goldkind, follow-up says Cam. Prospecting says Ricky. Carrie, morning.
Excellent.
Client relationships.
Excellent answers.
Perseverance.
Persevere. Prospecting. If you're prospecting, that contributes to 90% of your income. Showings, you're showing clients, and you're doing presentations to get more clients. As long as you're in front of clients and talking to clients, that's 90% of the value that you bring to your company.
Thanks, everyone. Sorry, I'm just going to disable everyone.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Sam Khan says relationship building.
As long as you're in front of somebody, absolutely. Okay, most people are working hard on tasks that are of little or no value to their bosses. Don't forget, in this case, you're the boss. No matter how well you do, an unimportant task does not help you. Hard working on the wrong job sabotages your career. That's the bottom line. If you find yourself designing brochures, planning websites, painting your house because it's cheaper for you to paint your house, set that aside. Brochures, website planning, thinking about your job, all of that does not, it only contributes 10% of your value to you Inc., which is your own company. So your job as the president of your own company is to discipline yourself to do those 3 things all day long. That's it. And if you're not, you have to understand that if you're not doing those 3 things, you're losing 90% of your value to your company. Another law, the law of probabilities. There is a direct ratio between the number of cold calls you make and the number of prospective customers that you will be able to talk to. There's a direct ratio between the number of prospective customers that you see or talk to and the number of prospects that you can follow up on. There is a direct ratio between the number of prospects you follow up on with proposals and presentations and the number of sales you make. Wayne Gretzky said, I miss 100% of the shots I don't take. Bruce Lee said, put in more and come out with more. That's the law of probabilities, and that is a law. You've all heard about the sales pipeline. This is the pipeline of all sales. For us in real estate, the more people you put in, let me get my pointer options. The more people you put in, oops, there we go. The more people drop out and the more people come out the end. It's a simple formula. So you have to ask yourself, you see, you can't focus on how many people fall out. There's a percentage. You can't focus on how many people come out. That's a percentage. You can only control how many people you put in. The more people you put in, the more will come out at the end and result in dollars and money for your family. So here's a question for you. What is your hourly rate? How much do you make? So let's say you take your annual income and divide by the number of 2,000. Why 2,000? Well, the average entrepreneur or executive works 40 hours a week times 50 weeks a year. Can you imagine if we in real estate actually worked 40 weeks a year and only took off 2 weeks a year? So anyway, sorry, side issue. If you make 50,000 a year divided by 2,000 hours, that's 25 hours, dollars an hour. If you make 100,000 per year and divide it by 2,000, you make $50 an hour, and so on. So if you want to improve, resolve only to do those things that pay you your hourly rate or better. Refuse to do those things that someone else can do at a lower hourly rate. And sorry, I got my slides a little bit confused. Remember, I talked about painting your house. Well, one of our agents had a quote to paint their house for $7,000, and he decided to take time off work. He at the time was making about $350,000 a year. He said, no, I'm not going to pay $7,000. I can do it cheaper. And he took a month off selling real estate to paint his house to save $7,000. So if you think about the fact that he on average earn $30,000 a month. He saved 7, but lost 30,000. And that's why you have to, if you want to be serious about running your company and you Inc., and you're serious about having a better life for you and your family, you've got to refuse to do those things that someone else can do at a lower hourly rate. You cannot waste your time doing things of low value or no value while your other important tasks are building up. So here's the key to sales success. Number one is you have 2 responsibilities when it comes to achieving success. One is keep your pipeline full, and second, get better at each stage of selling. You always have to have more prospects to call on than you have time during the day. Just think about it. You always have to have more prospects to call on than you have time during the day. Never let your pipeline become empty. Never run out of prospects. And number 2, get better at each stage. You've got to study, read, listen to audio programs, and upgrade your skills in prospecting and closing sales. The better you get at improving your skills, the fewer prospects you need to fill at the top of the funnel to generate sales out of the bottom of the pipe. So let me give you my own example. When I first started cold calling, I got 1 appointment out of 100 people that I called. So I thought, okay, if I can improve those odds, then I can make the same number of calls and make more money. So what I did was I recorded myself, and I listened to myself, and I wrote down there were 7 or 8 objections that I got. And one of those objections is, where did you get my number? I'm not interested in selling now, and so on. You know those objections. And so I wrote down the answers to those. And then when somebody said, well, I'm not interested in selling now, I started reading my answer because I didn't need to memorize it. I had it in front of me. And over a period of time, I kept recording myself and improving the answers. And after a while, instead of calling 99 people to get 1 appointment, I was down to 65 people to get 1 appointment. So if you think about it, I improved my productivity by roughly 34%. Okay, which means I could make 30% more money with the same effort. So coming to you, you have 2 things to do. First, you got to keep your pipeline full. And second, you have a responsibility to yourself and to your boss to get better at each stage of selling so that you can improve your results. You can have more money with less income, with less effort. So here's how you can predict your future. Here is the A buyer and A seller lists that you've all seen or should have seen because the managers have them and I'm sure have discussed with you. And what you have to do is basically fill out this section here, right, which is the month of. So for example, we are in the month of January, and you should have one for February, etc. Look at this right now if you have it. Or if you don't have it, imagine it. How many A buyers do you have right now? And how many A sellers do you have? Well, if your sheet looks like this, which is I have no A buyers and I have no A sellers, how much money do you think you're going to make in January? How much money do you think you're going to make in February if you have no A buyers and A sellers? Right? You can predict your own future if you just want to. So that all comes down to you know what that means, right? If you have no business coming in, then you know what you have to do. And here's the $1 million question. Is what I'm doing right now leading to a sale? You have to ask yourself this repeatedly throughout the day. Every time the answers comes up with no, you must immediately stop whatever you're doing of lower value and turn your attention to sales generation. If you have a team, make sure you ask them and have them ask themselves throughout the day, is what I'm doing right now leading to a sale? And if you can just continue to ask yourself that throughout the day, then your income, then you have to focus your things on high value items. You know, it's interesting. Agents get into real estate because they like people and they're good with people. And then they avoid prospecting and meeting people by paying for website leads, by paying for other agents to call for them, by creating a team so they don't have to prospect. And anybody ever ask themselves why? What happened? Well, it's simple. It's called the fear of rejection. You know, the fear of rejection does more to sabotage a sales career and undermine sales activities than any other single factor. It is the major obstacle to sales success. And the question is, you know, why are we afraid? We have a product that's in high demand. We are an essential service. Why are we afraid to prospect? You know, that's the $1 million question. And here's the essential truth. You know, they did a survey of 10,000 employees, not real estate agents, but 10,000 employees. And here's, on average, the employees spent 3 to 5 hours every workday on these particular items. By the way, for the fun of it, you should check how many times a day do you check your personal email, and how many times a day do you pick up your phone and check for messages just in case you missed one. Well, for the average employee, they spent 1 hour a day checking their emails. Okay, so that's the fact. So in real estate, agents have created pain avoidance techniques. And so because most people can't handle the continuous rejection, so in order to avoid the pain, here is the pain avoidance techniques real estate agents use. They come to the office, they spend time warming up, getting ready, shuffling paperwork, checking the internet, checking Facebook, reading the newspaper, chatting with coworkers, coming in late, leaving early, and taking extended lunches and coffee breaks. And I have to tell you guys that this is a fact. The average salesperson only spends 90 minutes a day talking to people. They may tell their spouses they're working hard. They may tell their spouses they're working 10 hours a day. But the average salespeople only spends 90 minutes a day at their job. The rest of the time, they're doing other stuff. So here's the fact. The professional real estate agent realizes that this is simply a normal and natural response to a commercial offer. The response is not personal, so you can't take them personally. You know, prospective prospects don't say, I hate you, I don't like you, I don't trust you. If they said that, yes, take it personally because you're doing something wrong. But when they say, I'm not interested in selling my house, or I don't want to buy that house, I don't need that house, I can't use it, I can't afford it, I'm not in the market right now, what does that have to do with you? That's not a rejection of you personally. It's a rejection of the commercial offer that you're making to them. So you can't take it personally. The secret of success is the ability to go from failure to failure with no loss of enthusiasm. Persistence is the quality of continuing steadily despite problems or difficulties. It is one of the qualities of high achievers. The longer you stay committed to a task or goal, the more likely something good will happen for you. Just think about that. The longer you stay committed to a task or a goal, the more likely something good will happen for you. You know, I've always been, being a golfer myself, I've always was amazed at how a golfer could have a terrible hole, you know, and the next hole would be amazing, because they had the ability not to look backwards as to what happened before, but the ability to look forward and say, I'm going to make it better. And that's the quality of persistence. You know, and if we can give our children that quality, the persistence of continuing steadily despite problems or difficulties, that is one of the most important life lessons we can help our children with. So here are some great spectacular failures. NASA experienced 20 failures in its first 28 attempts. Walt Disney went bankrupt after failing at several businesses. Dr. Seuss, his first book was rejected 27 publishers before it was finally accepted. So who is this politician? Lost his job, lost all these jobs. Anybody? Somebody stick up their hand. Jeremy, who knows this answer? Anybody? Who is this politician?
Raised his hand first.
Okay, who is that?
Oh, and someone said it, but I will, let me just get Gene on. Gene?
Yeah, Gene, who is this? Gene, who is this lovely person? Gene from his car.
Gene, are you there?
Alex, good morning, everyone. No,
Good
Gene from
morning.
the car did not put my hand up. I think it's the bump on the road.
Well, who's the person
Well,
anyways?
Who was the person?
I do not know. I do not know. I'll let someone else.
Okay,
Okay,
we got
thanks,
another
Gene.
hand, no problem.
Glad you joined us from your car, though. Good commitment. Anybody?
We've got Jay.
Jay. Who was this individual?
Jay, unmute yourself.
Who was this loser? Look at this. Nervous breakdown, rejected, defeated.
And by the way, in the chat, we have choices: Abraham Lincoln, Joe Biden, Winston Churchill, Joe Biden, Abraham Lincoln, Hillary Clinton.
Okay, cool.
Well,
Abraham Lincoln. Whoever had Abraham Lincoln, awesome.
Abraham Lincoln it was.
Right. A total, if you looked at his resume, he's a total failure. But where would the world be? Not America, not, you know, where would the world be if he had given up? And the truth of it is, it's not important how many times you fall down. Guys, what counts is how many times you get up. You know, cold calling, 99 people say, no, I'm not interested in selling my house. Who cares about them? We're looking for the 1 out of 100 who says, I need some help. So it's not important how many times you fall down. What counts is how many times you get up. Interesting. Those of you with children, Jeremy, you got a couple of kids. How many times did Jamie fall down before she finally was able to walk?
Many times, many times. We almost gave up on it.
Pardon?
We almost gave up on it. She wasn't a walker. Oh, now I'm freezing.
You gave up. You gave up on it. You gave up. How many bumped heads they all do that? But did they give up? Do you see any children who don't know how to walk? Right? Children don't give up because they see it's possible. They know it can be done. They believe they can do it, and they want it very badly. If you just take those, if you just look at your kids and say, I'm going to be my own kid in real estate. I'm going to continue the way I know I can do it. I know I can do better. Then you will do better. Just imagine, you know, your kids are giving you good examples. They never gave up. That's an example for us to follow from our children. So there's only 4 ways to change your life. Oops, sorry. Let's go back. There are only 4 ways to change your life. You got to do more of some things, you got to do less of some things, you can start something, or you can stop doing things. And whenever you're experiencing resistance or frustration, or you're confronted with the need for change, ask yourself, is there anything that I need to do more of, less of, start now, or stop doing? And I challenge you all to write that down right now. Not you, Gene, I know you're driving, but what can I do more of? What should I be doing less of? What should I start doing? And what should I stop doing? If you can just answer those questions for yourselves today, you will start off 2021 at a great, you're going to make it a great year. And what you should be doing is do a 3-month review. What am I doing that I should do more of every 3 months? You know, we're blessed with having these computers. Remember when computers were in a storage room and had to have, you know, a certain temperature, and you had to have thousands of dollars to be able to have one? When we opened up in 1985, our first computer was $25,000. That's when the average commission, let's say the average sale was about 100,000, 3% commission is $3,000. It would have taken 8 sales for an average person to buy a computer. Now they're a dime a dozen, and we throw them away after a year and get a new one. So the question is, put into your computer, post-dated, every 3 months, ask yourself, what am I doing that I should do more of? What am I doing that I should do less of? What should I start doing that I'm currently not doing? And what am I doing that I should stop doing? And if you haven't figured it out yet, you should sit down with your spouse and later with your kids. And it takes a lot of courage. Have the courage to ask them, is there anything I'm doing that you would like me to do more of? Is there anything that I'm doing that you would like me to do less of? Is there anything that you would like me to start doing that I'm not doing today? Is there anything that I'm doing that you would like me to stop doing altogether? It takes courage to ask your spouse that. It takes courage to ask your kids that. But you know, most people complain that they don't understand their kids. Well, maybe they don't understand their kids, or their spouse doesn't understand them, because we're not spending the time to ask the people who are most important to us how we can improve and give them what they want. Give them what we want to give them. Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, there are no shortcuts to any place worth going. You know, how did The Rock become the icon he is today? Do you think he was an overnight success? So I like my title, From a Pebble to the Rock. I thought that was cool. But here he is with his grandmother, and this is what he looked like. He wasn't born with muscles. Where is he? He wasn't born with muscles. You know, his goal was to become a football player, and he suffered a serious injury at the University of Miami, which didn't allow him to play in the NFL. So instead, he came to Canada, and he played in the Canadian CFL for 1 game. After 1 game, he was cut, and he went home to live with his parents with $7 in his pocket. Today, he's worth $320 million. And so the question is how does somebody, let me change the color. I don't like the color of this. Let's do something cool. How did he go from this skinny little runt to this? Well, look at his face. Was it easy? I don't think anybody can tell you that anybody can see that it isn't easy. And the key is there are no shortcuts to any place worth going. So, secret of success. Decide exactly what you want in life. Write it down, give it life, or it's just a dream. If you don't write it down, it's a dream. Stop wasting your time. Determine the price, on that point, every year we have resolutions. And it's interesting, those people who write down their usually succeed. Those who don't write them down, every single year, the same thing happens, And we say, write down your goals. No, it's okay, I got them in my head. And the truth of it is, they're never achieved. And what's that definition of insanity? Doing the same things over and over again and hoping for different results. Well, that's exactly what's happening. Decide what you want. Write it down. Determine the price that you're going to have to pay to get the things you want. You can't make $1 million in real estate without prospecting. You can't prospect without people telling you, I'm not interested in your service. Decide and commit to pay that price. Success, the price of success has to be paid. It's not like a restaurant where you pay after you enjoy your meal. Instead, it's like a cafeteria. You can choose whatever you want, but you got to pay for it before you eat it. And that's what sales is. We're in a cafeteria. You can have whatever you want. You just have to pay for it before you eat it. So, Toronto 2021, the demand is there. The economy is there. The financing is there. The tools, the brand, the support. We're here. We're behind you. We support you. We love you. We want you to do much, much better. Let me rephrase that. We want you to do as well as you want to do. Our job is to support you, to help you achieve your goals. All that is missing is your effort. Keep in mind, your job is not to sell houses. If you think your job is to sell houses, it is not. Your job is to prospect, to show properties, to present, to talk to clients as much as possible face-to-face. With COVID, Zoom calls are working great. Those agents, if we learn a lesson from 10 months ago, those agents who picked up the phone and called their clients and saying, how are you? How's the family? Stay safe. How can I help you? Were the agents who had amazing years. Those agents who stayed at home, watched Netflix, did not have such good years. Your job is not selling houses, it's prospecting, it's showings, and it's presentations. If you do, and remember the law of probabilities, the more you do, the more you make. If you do those three things all day long, I am guaranteeing you an income of $1 million this year. $1 million. The only question is, you have to want it badly enough. So, to wrap up, do your prospecting, have fun at it, because after all, life without fun isn't life. And most important, stay safe. Thank you all. Jeremy, I'm going to stop sharing.
Great, thanks, Alex.
And we're going to open it up to questions. And if anybody has any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Sure. Everyone's welcome to raise their hand, put a question in the Q&A, or drop something in the chat. A couple of thank you messages from agents. Sam Heim says, spend on self-improvement. It's not an expense, it's an investment. Great point. And we still have people wondering who that failure of a president was. We have
no,
George
he
W.
wasn't
Bush,
a failure of a president. He was a great president who failed multiple times.
A failure
Correct.
who is president.
Well, that sounds
not
like Trump, right?
Uh,
No, I don't know.
I don't
Okay,
know.
we'll stay apolitical.
Okay. The best thing of door knocking for me is making me stop thinking negative. Majid says, yeah, it really changes your mind. The first few calls, you're in your head and you're in your mindset, and then it
Well,
pulls you out
it's
right
that
away.
famous
Go ahead.
quote, which is action relieves anxiety. The only reason you're anxious is because you're not doing anything. Once you take the step towards an action, then you know at least you're trying to fix what's making you anxious. If you're just sitting there saying, I'm just anxious, then you have no chance of getting outside. So those guys are absolutely right. You start doing something and the anxiety goes away because you're taking an action.
Yeah. Great.
Now, just a second,
So I think that's
go
it.
back. There was
Yeah.
Majid said, there was a quote, I don't know if you can show it, that said, I feel better even though nothing happened. Well, Majid, something did happen. You made a bunch of calls. That means, let's say you made 50 calls and you didn't get your yes, but you're closer by 50 calls to that yes. So something very important happened. You eliminated 50 of the people who didn't need your help today. So it's not that nothing happened, something big happened. You eliminated half of those other 50. Well, so it's a lot easier to find that 1 out of 50 than 1 out of 100. So something did happen.
Great point. Good. Anyone else have any questions? This is your chance to ask Alex whatever's been on your mind. Have a comment, have a fear you want to share. You think you're the only one that has it, but we've all had it.
So while we're waiting for questions, guys, Friday, I was shocked. We had our record number of showings on Friday. In the middle of a lockdown, 990 appointments. The average Friday is about 700. So we did about 30% more appointments. We are in, so we're in for a huge year. Now I saw somebody, I think you sent it to me. No, it was Robert Kroll sent it to me. An agent posted on Facebook that after January, for the first 2 weeks in January, there were approximately 1,053 sales in 416. And out of those, 750 were condominiums. 750. So remember what Jeremy, I, and Cam have been telling you guys for the last year. Condos are a bargain. Condos should be bought, and condos are the place to be. They are going to be a great buy. We are in for a huge year. If we're having all of this activity during a lockdown, guys, it's not only a pandemic, but a lockdown, we're in for a huge year. And the way to benefit from this year is to call your clients, stay in touch. So as soon as they're thinking of buying and selling, they'll think of you. If you don't call them, they're not going to remember you.
Great. Amir wants to know where the market's heading to, not just now. Obviously, it feels really hot. Is this another 2017, or is it the start of a new price level?
Oh, huge price level. Huge. Last year, 350,000 people got their immigration status to immigrate to Canada. Only about 100,000 made it in because of COVID. We've got another 200,000 people who are already admitted into Canada and are just waiting to come in because of COVID. Once COVID is done, we've got those 200,000 people coming in. So 200,000 people, an average family is 4. That means 50,000 people are coming into Canada. Out of the 50,000, at least 30,000 are going to be coming to the GTA. That means we need 30,000 units, which we don't have. Once Airbnb is back in motion, those 10 or 20,000 units that were on short-term rental will be back into Airbnb. They're going to come out of the rental pool. So all of those tenants are going to be looking for places to move to. Plus, the next 2 years, the Canadian government has committed to 400,000 new immigrants for the next 2 years. That means another, let's see, the 100,000 people, let's say 60,000 units this year, and another 60,000 units in the GTA. We can't keep pace with the amount of immigration coming in. We're in for huge years. The markets, I heard today BMO is expecting our economy to increase by 5% this year. So yeah, we're in for good times. But, sorry, Jeremy.
Go ahead.
Doesn't matter how good the times are. If you don't have clients, if you're not talking to people, it doesn't matter. Sorry, now you can, sorry, I interrupted you.
No, I don't know my point was anymore. I don't remember, but that's okay.
Are you saying I talk too much?
You talk too much. No, it's great to have you here. I talk the other 4 days. So it's good people hear your voice. Can we go door knocking? Some people don't like it right now. What's your thought on door knocking? I have mixed feelings about it.
Yeah. Okay. What's your opinion?
So my opinion is if you go knock on someone's door, and I'm just going by how I feel and how people around me feel, we sort of have this feeling, and we have delivery people and we have different services. And I think people are comfortable. You knock on someone's door, you go down the steps, back, you're 20 feet away, you're standing there, and you just say, hey, I'm just checking in with you, see how you're doing. Are you planning on staying in the area? What's your plan? How are you doing with your kids? And you're polite about it and friendly about it. I don't think anyone's going to have a problem. I don't think handing people at the door your card or any other thing is necessary at this point. I think that's just an extra connection. I think door knocking is okay other than that.
I agree with you, Jeremy. Everybody is now comfortable with social distancing. So in order to give somebody your business card, you are breaking social distancing. So as long as you knock on the door and back away, then nobody is sorry. There's always going to be one or two people who don't believe in masks. There's always going to be one or two people who believe this is a government conspiracy theory. There's always going to be one or two people who goes, don't you know we're in the middle of a pandemic? And you just have to ignore those stupid people. You have a job to do. 90% of your time is prospecting, showings and presentations. Knock on the door, take 2 or 3 steps back and do your job. And your job is not to sell houses, it's to talk to people about real estate. And so as long as you're doing your job, you're going to get paid. The minute you're looking for excuses why you should not do your job, it's too hot, it's too cold, it's too rainy, I'm feeling too good, I'm feeling too bad. What's another good excuse, Jeremy?
There are a million excuses. Too cold, it's too hot. It's
right.
It's not the right time. It's the afternoon. It's Monday. Monday's not good. It's the beginning of the week.
Right.
But you don't want to do it in the middle of the week, and then Friday's the end of the week, so you take the time off.
We've heard them all before.
We've heard them all.
The key is this. There are 1,000 reasons why you shouldn't do your job. There's one reason why you should do your job, because you've committed to do the job for yourself and for your family. As long as you remember why you committed to do the job and who the commitment is to, and keep that in mind, you committed to work, and you committed to make money, and you committed to have a better life for you and your family and a better future. You can't do that unless you do your job.
Yeah. Great. Maria is asking, what do you recommend in offer presentations when representing a buyer? just lost to 30 offers on one property. Seller bought it for 450,000 and just sold it for 675. My fear is whether banks will finance the gap being so large.
I would say right now, get the deal and then we'll worry about it. If you don't get the deal, then it doesn't matter.
Yeah, find a way to figure it out.
After.
If one bank doesn't take it, the next bank
We'll
likely
figure it
will.
out. You know, if there's 30 offers and that's what it sells for, that's what it sells for. The problem is that you're working with buyers. Get on the phone, go door knocking, and you be the listing agent and you get the 30 offers to you. Because as a selling agent, today it's miserable. Well, for the longest time, it's been miserable to be the selling agent. You've got a great brand name. You've got a great brand behind you. You've got a great team behind you. How many of you, when you're going on your listing appointments, are showing the electronic lockbox saying, hey, I protect you and I protect your family. And so I pay extra for this lockbox because I don't want anybody walking into your house. See, you've got all these tools, but unless you're using them, what are they for? You're bringing yourself down to the lowest denominator. We have a great video that we talked about how you can text it to your clients, the Railtron Accelerate, right? It's a video on why they should list with you. How many of you have really A, seen it, and B, sent it? If you would just send it before your listing appointment, you're going to get, I'm guaranteeing you 50% more of the listings. You're going to lose, I should say, less listings to your competitors. Your competitors don't have the stuff that we have, but if we don't use it, what's the sense of having it? You know, imagine a doctor who doesn't have a scalpel and has to do an operation. And another doctor who has a scalpel but goes, you know what, I like the old-fashioned way of doing things. I don't need a scalpel, I'll do it the other way. Well, more people die, but what the hell? Doesn't hurt me, right? So we've given you all these tools. We've given you all this stuff. How many of you are wearing your pin? Do you know how many times a year we've got COVID, but how many times a year I would get stopped and people go, oh, you're in real estate. I have to ask you a question. I want to sell, I want to buy. It's the little things that make the difference.
Great. Ricky, I don't really understand Ricky's question. If you want to convert 30% more leads, I don't know if this is a joke or a typo or something. If you want to convert 30% more leads into clients, how many times should you feed your baby during the first week per day?
I think maybe he was doing text by text.
Yeah, should you feed your baby? How many times you want to convert? How many times should you follow up? Maybe.
Yes.
Per week, per day.
You know, you have to have a system, and you have. Here's the bottom line: the longest you should have between contacting your database, your personal database, the longest is 3 months. If you're not talking to get okay, it was a bad joke, Ricky. But here's the answer. You should be calling your database minimum every 3 months. There's some people in for them to remember you and refer you. And if you're not sending out the dear friend letter every single month, shame on you. Okay, I write that dear friend letter every month. Most people say, wow, it's a great letter, but I don't send it out. Then don't even bother reading it because it's a waste of your time. But if you want to improve 30%, which was Ricky's question, if you want to improve your repeat and referrals, you got to send them something every month, and we provide that for you. You've got to call them minimum every 3 months. Some people you'll call every month because you've got a great relationship with them. Some people you'll call them every 2 months. But the longest period of time that you should be talking to people is once every 3 months. And if you think about it, if you've got 250 people in your database, and there's 22 work days in a month, if you were just to call 10 people a day, just 10 and say, hey, how are you? Are you and your family safe? How's the dog? How's the baby? How's the house? You are going to get 30% more referrals from every single person. And imagine that's free work, and all you can do it from the safety of your home. You can put your feet up. You can be cold calling in your underwear. Nobody's going to know. And you could be making money. Again, don't think of selling houses. Think of talking to people.
Great.
Thanks for your
Bolu,
great question,
great
Ricky.
question. Bolu made the point that that he wants to convert one-way communication into two-way. So he's looking for ways to make connections where they interact back with him. I guess from going from marketing to an interaction. And I just want to make the point on Maria's point about being in 30 offers. This is happening so many times. If you're losing in an offer, but you have a good buyer who will pay a good price, first of all, you have to go build relationships with the listing agent. Secondly, your job is to make sure the neighbors hear from you what it's sold for before they hear from anyone else. And that means that showing up the next morning and saying, my client just missed out. They really love the street. They want to be here. If I could bring you the same price, that record price that they got, if I could give you the same price, would you do the deal? And maybe you'll double end it
Excellent.
the next day without that.
Guys, the price of admission today was all given in by Jeremy's answer just now.
Thank you.
That is worth the price of today's session, which is you look at the bad stuff that happened to you, Maria, and how do you, what's that old saying? If you get lemons, make lemonade. How do you make it? And Jeremy just gave us a great idea. Call the neighborhood saying, I don't want to list your house. We got a record sale. I got a cash buyer. Are you interested in a record price? Great answer, Jeremy.
Good. Thank you. Susan Bomani has an appointment at 12 o'clock and needs our help. Their client has an exclusive listing, wants to have an exclusive listing agreement. How do you convince it to bring them to MLS? They're saying if the market is hot, you're able to sell it exclusively, and she's going to meet them at 12 o'clock.
I think the answer, Susan, is yes, we can sell it. And it would be better for me because I would double end it. But the truth of it is, it's the law of probabilities, which is the more people that see your house, the more money you're going to make, or the better offers you're going to get. So yes, I would love to double end it and keep more money for myself. But in this kind of market, as Maria has just said, we're getting 10, 20, 30, 50 offers on a house that we thought was priced correctly, because we don't know. But by the law of probabilities, the more people that see your home, the more offers you're going to get and the better price you're going to get. My job isn't to sell it and to double end it. My job is to get you best price terms and conditions. And honestly, I can't do that without exposing it to the whole market. And we've seen properties which we thought, we in the office discussing and saying, oh, wow, it's listed at $1 million. That's a lot of money. And then it sells for $1.3 million because there's such a demand. I don't want to rob you of that. Let's put it on the market and get you the best possible price. But the other side of it too, you can ask, Susan, is saying, may I ask what benefit do you see to yourself? Why would you like to do it exclusively so I can understand and help you with your challenge? Maybe there's a friend who's in real estate, they're embarrassed that they're listing with you. Who knows? Find out what their problem is before you give them the solution. Find out what the problem is before you give them the solution.
Right, great point.
So ask questions.
Yeah, and Nazila asks, is it a good idea to put an offer date on a home priced at 1.7 million? Underprice it. It's a good idea for houses at lower prices. In this price range, is that a good strategy? I think it is. I think there are tons of buyers out there in that price range and not a lot of listings.
No, yeah. This is a good time to be a seller. So yes, underprice it and sit back and wait for the 30 offers to come in.
Yeah. Susan says they are their client. They're already their client. So, but then maybe you want to just say, let's try it for a couple weeks off the market, and then we'll put it on the market. But let them know that it's not the best way, and you might miss out on the best offer.
Yeah.
Just
And
like
the answer, the reasoning I gave you before stands. But if they insist, there's not much you can do. Coming back to, we are in a time of multiple offers. Do not stand in the way of your clients buying a house. What I mean by that is, and in this case, if your client insists on an exclusive, you've given them the reasons, you show them the reasons, but after that is their decision. If you're going into a property and it's listed for $1 million and there's 30 offers and your client wants to offer $1.2 million, you're going, that's a lot of money. Don't. You do not have a right. You can counsel your clients, but ultimately, if they say, no, I want to offer 1.2, you can't say, no, that's too expensive. I don't want you to do that. You have to follow your client's wishes. Do not stand in the way of your client buying a house.
Great point.
I don't know if you want to add on that, Jeremy.
No, I totally agree, and we're often afraid for people to make mistakes, and they hired us because we're good. But sometimes leveling with your clients and telling them, listen, you guys have to pay 50,000 more because this is where the market's going is
or
tough,
100,000 more.
but it's our job. Yeah, or 100,000 more.
Yeah.
How many days is good for holding off offers? I'm not sure who that's from. Sorry. I think realistically, it's 2 days is enough, but probably 5 or 6 days.
Yeah.
Right. 2 weeks, I never understand it.
No,
It's too long.
too
but
long.
The person who sees it on day 1 is already given up on the place by day 10.
Yeah, within 5 days, I would say 5 days, because once you get longer than that, then you get bully offers and you run into all kinds of other things.
Right.
Right. I mean, anybody who's looking is out there. You don't need to wait for a week.
Yeah. And the new holding off offers is 24 hours irrevocable. You can put it out today, 24 hours irrevocable. And sometimes it attracts more people in more of a hurry because they think they're going to get it without multiple offers. But
Yeah.
So that works sometimes a little more confusing. Don't do that without a net. I think that's all we got. Oh, we got one more. Well, hold on, one more. Vinay asks, for buyers, how does it work with appraisals? They have a situation where the client paid more than market to get the home, but now the lender's saying the appraisal is coming in low. So sometimes you have to reappraise. Sometimes you have to get another lender. Alex, any other suggestions?
Yeah, you have to keep in mind that the appraiser gets, I don't know, $200 to go and appraise the house. And the appraiser wants to make sure if worse comes to worse, his appraisal is okay. And a lot of times you may get an appraiser from Mississauga or from Barrie driving into Toronto to do an appraisal. He may not understand the neighborhood. He may not understand what's going on. And part of the service that we do for our buyers is we have to meet the appraiser at the property, because the appraiser doesn't have the information we do. If we say, listen, there were 3 offers, this is what the offers were, this is why the client paid this, we only got it by $5,000 more, here are all the other comparables in the neighborhood, the appraiser goes, oh, okay, now I understand. And now you have a chance of getting a better appraisal. If the appraiser has no clue and he's out of area, then chances are you're going to get a bad appraisal. This is part of the service, Mr. Buyer. One of the reasons why you're working with me is I'm going to meet the appraiser at the house. I'm going to help the appraiser show why the property is worth it. I'm going to be there when the home inspection is done to make sure everything is done properly. That's part, guys, you make a sale for $1 million, you make a commission of $25,000. That's part of the service you give for the buyers to work with you.
Great. Human asks about the new tax being imposed, the vacancy tax, I think it's referring to. Oh, sorry. The government may introduce new tax measure March, April for foreign buyers.
April.
Like they're talking about increasing the foreign buyer tax, but I think the vacancy tax is taking the place of that. Taxes, well, you know, my personal opinion, and maybe I'm alone here, is that that market crash was happening before the foreign buyer tax. It just made it worse. So I think the tax stuff is minimal and doesn't have that much effect on a market that's moving. 2017 was happening already, I think.
Can I just turn it around? If a house is worth $1 million or $1.2 million or 800,000, I don't care. Why don't I care, Jeremy?
Because you just want to sell them.
I just want to sell it. I only have a 2.5% interest in the house. And if it sells for 900 or $1 million, it doesn't matter. But if I have a sale and I get a commission and I put it in the bank, my kids eat. I don't care if there's a foreign buyer tax and prices go down 20%, because I'm going to make sales. There are going to be people who can afford it and there are going to be people who can't afford it. I'm sorry for them, but my kids got to eat. And as long as I'm making sales, you know, if you sold a house, guys who've been around a while, you sold a buyer a house for 600,000 or a condo for 300,000. Now it's worth 600,000. They just sold it. They made a $300,000 profit because of you. Did they call you and say, wow, you did such a great job for us. Here's a bonus of $20,000? No. Okay. And if they lost money, do they call you and say, give me the money back? Yes, but the answer is no. The truth of it is we are salespeople. As long as you're selling, don't get caught up in what will happen if prices go down or prices go up. As long as there's sales happening, you are okay. You know, the toughest year we've had in a long time was 1991. And Richard was selling houses in the Willowbrook area, which is Bayview, just north of John Street, south of Highway 7. And 1991, 10% of the houses were selling. So, which means that you needed 10 listings for one to sell. Now, Richard had 4 kids and a mortgage, and he needed 4 sales a month. He had to carry 40 listings in order to have 4 sold. That's called the law of probabilities. If he needed 5 sales, how many listings would he have to have, Jeremy? 50.
50.
Law of probabilities. Yeah, good answer.
I was reading Human's article, sorry.
Yeah, no, I understand. So it doesn't matter what the market is. What matters is what are the odds of you making your sale. And that's the most important thing. So forget about, gosh, you know, the government is planning to do something in April. Who would have predicted that we would run out of toilet paper because of COVID? Both times, right? The second time around, people were stocking up as well. I don't get it. But all of the things, you know, a year ago, we were worried about what will the government do? Will there be a recession? Will there be a depression? And all of our worries just didn't occur. Our job is to talk to people. Talk to people, talk to people, talk to people 90% of your time. And it's irrelevant what the government will do. You're going to make sales.
Great. Well said. Okay. I think this is our last question. Maria asks, what do you think about including an opportunity to include a preemptive offer with an offer date?
Jeremy, you answer that one.
Yeah, I'm really passionate about this. If you were going to do a preemptive offer, you might as well not have an offer date. You have a plan. You should try and stick with your plan unless an offer shows up that is dramatically more than you were ever expecting. You know, then you can reconsider your plan. But someone calling and saying, hey, can we do the offers tonight? You knew there would be people offering on day one. You knew there would be people who want it. Don't be bulldozed into not giving your listing the full exposure it needs.
And let me just add to that is I talk to you guys all the time. And it's amazing how many times we as real estate experts are wrong. Time after time, an agent says, I priced it. It should have sold for $1 million. My God, it sold for $1.3 million. I thought it would sell for this price. I'm shocked. How crazy is that? What that means is that we do not know what motivates people. Price is a number in people's heads. You may have a general idea of what you think it'll sell for, but if the buyer has to buy for whatever reason, if the buyer has their parents on the street and they want to be close to their parents, if the buyers want, there's a special school in the neighborhood that they want their kids to go to, these are all the reasons why they're going to pay thousands and thousands and thousands more than you would expect. So I agree with Jeremy. If you start thinking you know prices and you know the market, you're one step of getting out of real estate. I'm serious. No one knows. The one good thing is competition fixes price. If you make a mistake and you price it too low, competition will fix it. If you price it too high, it's not going to sell. The competition will tell you it's too high and you can fix it. But once you get into your head that you know prices and you know better than everybody else, you're one step out of real estate. Okay, 11:32. We are over our max. Jer?
Yeah. So thank you so much, Alex. Great session. This is available on Facebook. If you missed the beginning of it or you want to go back and watch it again, you can go to the Facebook group and watch it again. Thanks so much, Alex. We look forward to seeing you on sessions in the future throughout the months. We look forward to your dear friend letter, and have a great rest of the day, rest of the
Excellent.
week. We're doing a Q&A tomorrow afternoon. I think I have a special guest lined up, just confirming. And Friday mornings, Know Your Numbers Friday. Look forward to seeing many of you on there, and have a great rest of the week. Thanks, Alex.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for joining us.